Hello, everyone, and welcome to the global kickoff of CES 2021. The CES is, of course, the most influential tech event of the world, and this is going to be a great kickoff with all of the pioneering tech entrepreneurs from the Netherlands. I'm Gillian Graven, your host, and I work for the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Policy. And with me are my State Secretary, Mona Keijzer, and Tech Leap Special Envoy, Prince Constantijn. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're all delighted to welcome you to this year's CES 2021 during this kickoff. We're in Amsterdam, but you're probably watching this from home. And I can assure you that watching this show will be way more inspiring than checking your mailbox. This year, our kickoff is all about our motto, co-create to innovate. Soon we'll be tuning in with our CTA hosts from the US to open the Dutch pavilion, the Netherlands Pavilion, I should say, and to welcome all of our Dutch tech entrepreneurs. And this year, our pavilion is all about tech solutions to global challenges. Now, I'd like to start with you, Mona, because normally you would have been in Las Vegas right now with all of the tech entrepreneurs, as you've done so in the past years, but this year is totally different.
Totally different. Yeah, last year, today, I was looking back to a great few days in Las Vegas. And now we're here in Amsterdam, but there is a positive side on the digital CES event, because last year I took with me 50 entrepreneurs, and this year almost 100 tech entrepreneurs. So there is a very positive side on CES digital.
Yes, for sure. So we're live broadcasting this now from the Edge Olympic in Amsterdam, a rather special building. Why have you chosen this specific location?
It's not just a very beautiful building, but it's also certified the most healthy one. It's circular, it's smart. And today we are working within it with the Smart Distance Lab. And I will tell you something more about it later on in the show.
I'm looking forward to that. And Prince Constantijn, you're Netherlands Special Envoy for Tech Leap.
Yep.
Tech Leap aims to accelerate the Dutch tech climate, the Dutch ecosystem, and that's definitely a noble cause. You've also spearheaded the delegation to the CES in the past 5 years. What do you think is the strength of the Dutch tech climate?
So, of course, COVID has had its effect. And we have seen incredible resilience in terms of funding rounds. So the funding rounds have increased. We've seen basically across the board tech companies really reorganizing themselves, pivoting, and coming out of the crisis stronger. Though some sectors obviously have suffered, but I think it's the breadth and now the acceleration that we've been seeing in terms of capital investment, in terms of tech transfer. And also in the talent that's available.
Yes, for sure. And this year our pavilion is all about tech solutions for global challenges. What does that mean to you?
Well, I think what we're seeing is that tech and startups are really moving in those domains where we're seeing these big transitions. So big global challenges requiring new solutions. And that's obviously where they have a bigger opportunity than the existing players, because it's something new, a new development, and where others need to pivot towards that, they are actually on track. So we're seeing that the drive and purpose of many startups are really in line with these big transitions.
Great, that's great to hear. Now, we'd all like to celebrate the opening of the Netherlands Pavilion. And for this opening, I'd like to welcome our hosts from the US, President and CEO of CTA, Gary Shapiro, and also Executive Vice President of CES, Garen Chupka. Welcome and good morning.
Thank you, Gillian, and Secretary Keijzer and Prince Constantijn. It's so great to see all of you. It's been a while. But as you can see here today, where we're actually in Redmond, Washington, the home of Microsoft, where our production is centered. But we could see the divide across the Atlantic has never been smaller. And thanks to everyone tuning in around the world to CES 2021. It's great to launch it today. And we're so glad that you're with us today. You know, for the last 5 years, we've seen the Dutch innovation firsthand at CES in the Netherlands Pavilion. Those orange and white hats are hard to miss in Eureka Park. The Dutch have been leaders for a long time in technology and innovation. In fact, the Netherlands was named by us an innovation champion. That's our highest honor in the latest edition of CTA's International Scorecard. It earned top marks by nearly every metric, from broadband access to pro-tech positions on next-generation technologies like self-driving cars and drones. And we're so excited, as Secretary Keijzer said, that nearly 100 Dutch companies are participating in this year's show, showcasing innovation in advanced materials, the latest in artificial intelligence, energy efficiency, and much more. And this year we have several CES innovation honorees are from the Netherlands. There's Q-Blocks, Den Smart Home, and of course, Philips. So let me introduce you to the person who actually really makes everything happen with CES, Karen Chupka, the Executive Vice President of CES, who will tell you more about what to expect at this year's show.
Well, thank you, Gary, and thank you all for joining us today. But before I dive into what you can expect this week at CES, I want to take a few moments to reflect on actually how we got here, how we took our CES event and made it all digital. In the wake of the global challenge, the global pandemic, economic disruptions, health concerns, and more, and also just a quick reminder that if you haven't yet registered for CES, there's still time to do that, and we hope that you all will. So we built the show by actually looking at what was the core values of what CES delivers. And what we hear from all of you is that it's really important to showcase innovation and to have an opportunity for you to connect with other business people and other entrepreneurs. And so that's what we did, is we built a platform that enabled that. But what was also important was getting the support of people like you and getting the support of all the great innovators around the world, and especially from the Netherlands Pavilion. So we really appreciate all the people who believe in the power of technology that is helping to transform our world for a better. The whole show is actually streamed live to audiences around the world, and we kicked it off this morning with some of our press events. And so we want to especially thank Microsoft, who's our technology partner in helping us to produce this, and all of the attendees and exhibitors and media that are dedicating their time to the show this week. And we want to make sure that everybody checks out our amazing lineup of speakers, all of our keynotes and conference programs, and all of our startups. And there's a way to do that, which is you can easily go in and search startups from Netherlands, and all of the great technology from the Netherlands will show up. So please join also our anchor desk. That is a live portion of the show. We're broadcasting throughout the day that will help you learn about what just was announced, what some of the cool things are, and also even look at what's happening on social media. CES 2021 has been a completely reimagined experience, and it's going to give you a front row seat to tech innovation, cutting edge technologies, and the latest products and product launches. The biggest global brands are here with us today, and alongside the world's most promising startups. And we're really proud to host 15 international pavilions, including the Netherlands Pavilion, which we're thrilled to open with you now today.
Great, thank you so much, Gary and Karen. Now the moment we've all been waiting for. I want to ask you, Constantijn, to open the Netherlands Pavilion. Let's all get up from our seats. Let's also have a countdown. I want America to ask America to join us too, and have a countdown starting at 5. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Open. Woo! Yay!
Hey! Yes. Great. So this was a great animation made by one of our Dutch startups, Dimenco. There's also Gary and Karen, of course. I want to thank you for joining us for this opening, for the kickoff of the Netherlands Pavilion. Thank you so much. Then we also have our 93 Dutch participating startups, all of the companies we have here today. We also have them on screen, I believe, in real life, online, of course, but in real life. Let's see them all. Let's have a cheer for them. Hey, there we go. Hello, everyone. Great to have you on board the CES. Hi. So many of you. Great. Hello. Yes, I want to thank you, Constantijn, for opening our pavilion. We'll say goodbye to you for now, but I'd like to welcome you back a little later. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Also, thank you to CTA for always being such a great partner, and obviously the ministry. And I would wish all the companies that are at CES that they make all the contacts they want to make and many more, and that they get out of it what they hope, and that they become better companies after this CES is over.
Great. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
And now that our pavilion is officially open, I'd like to hear more from you, Mona. What are the tech solutions our entrepreneurs are bringing to the CES this year?
Well, all kinds of solutions, whether it's about climate change, health, the techniques that makes it possible that we are talking to each other, everybody hearing us, connecting to the United States, high-speed internet, all of those things are part of the companies you just saw. And of course, tech solution for global challenges, I always say, for every global challenge, a Dutch solution.
Yes, brilliant. One of them is actually on location, the Smart Distance Lab. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Well, that's a collaboration between policymakers, researchers, and companies, of course, which are thinking about and experimenting with techniques that will help us being together in a safe way. For instance, I and you too,
yes.
We are wearing a bracelet with a sensor which gathers data which help policymakers, researchers, companies to make sure how we can be together in a safe way. Comfortable, of course, safe, and organized to really look into what happens when people are together in a room. And of course, today we are here with a very small amount of people,
yes,
which are really necessary to make a broadcast and a show like this. But probably within due time, we will be together with more people. And how do you do that in a safe, comfortable way? And
yes,
that's what Smart Distance Lab is all about.
Great. And what will the Smart Distance Lab do with all this data?
Well, of course, they will look into it and come up with ideas. How do you do it? For instance, when you come somewhere, and it's a thing that you say, well, hey, of course, my children always say, is the one-way street. When you are in a mall, for instance. Well, it's a very simple and easy way to proceed. But you have to make sure that it also works. And what do you need to make it work? And when we are walking somewhere, we don't think about it. Well, the data which, for instance, are being gathered with those bracelets helps policymakers to make the right system, to build the right systems.
Great, that sounds really great. And I have to be honest, I can see myself continuing to use this bracelet even post-corona to stay away from my nosy neighbors. But back to tech solutions for global challenges. The Dutch companies are joining us for the CES to market their product globally, of course. Tell us about some of these participants that come to mind.
Well, there are several, and people always ask me, well, how does the Dutch economy gain here? Well, last year we had a great company which was also an innovation award winning and who is now ready to scale on a global level, Hyperloop. But there are some very interesting companies too. And of course, 93, I can't mention them all, but start, for instance, with in-cooling. Data centers use a lot of energy to cool down the systems, and they come up with a technology which reduces energy with 50%. Hyber, for instance. Of course, the Netherlands is a very well-connected, small country, but there are parts in the world where you want to use IoT technology, but of course then it has to be connected. And via satellites, they have built a system where it's possible all over the world. So that's a great example.
Sure.
Q-Blocks, the Innovation Award winner, quantum computing. The people who really know about it always say, and I love this quote, that everybody who says they know and understands quantum completely, they're not speaking the truth entirely. So for me as a politician, that makes me feel comfortable to talk about it. I understand that it's difficult to make the different systems communicate with each other, and Q-Blocks is a technology which makes it possible. Well, Heatbox, one of my favorites, a lunch box which helps you warm your food while you're on the road. Well,
wow,
great.
Yeah, definitely. Very useful to have. Another participant of ours that will actually be joining us right now, and who I'd like to welcome, is Hester Leriche. Hester Leriche, welcome. Yes, there we are. You're joining us live from Cape Town. Thank you so much. Hester, you founded your company Tover back in 2015. And with Tover, you aim to establish 10 million moments of joy per day in both care and education. How did you come up with this? I'm hoping you can hear.
Yeah, the idea for Tover actually originated from my PhD project. And I started in 2009. And the idea was to design a project and to research how we can stimulate people in the later stage of dementia to become more active, because this is the biggest challenge for them to feel comfortable and have a good day. And from this product, we started the company a few years later.
Great. And can you explain to us how the Tovertafel works?
Yes, absolutely. It's we use interactive light projections on the dining table, and actually the Tovertafel is the device that is mounted from the ceiling. So this creates games, and play with lights. So people can physically interact, people can socially interact with each other, but also mental stimulation is obviously very important for our groups. And as you can see in the movie, that we cater for different groups. So we have games for people in late stage of dementia, but also with learning disabilities and children with various challenges. And it's all about connection and all about sort of getting most out of yourself, but also most out of the day.
It also definitely looks like a very enjoyable game, but I do believe it's more than a game, and that its development is a great example on how to co-create to innovate.
Yes, we call it serious games because we always have a serious aim that we would like to achieve for a certain group. And already during my PhD, but still in the company, we co-create everything that we make. So from the games, but also from our learning platforms online, everything that we do in collaboration with the players, carers, and even family members.
Great. So it truly is a lot more than just a game. And I've also understood that Tover has adapted rather well to the impact of COVID-19.
Well, it definitely came to a shock. We all know that our groups were initially hit maybe the hardest by the pandemic, but also the way that we sell our products, the way that we train and prevent service, we all based on actual visit to the care homes. And we were the first to obviously be locked out. So we transferred our entire way of working and our products to be available online. And that's how we can, obviously a lot quicker, but a lot more support and training we can provide right now, even in the second wave, and who knows what comes next. Yeah, we are ready, I think.
That's great to hear. Mona, I believe you may have a question for Hester as well.
Well, before I was a state secretary for economic affairs, I was a spokesperson for long-term care. So I've seen it at work in the home for people with dementia, for instance. So I know it's a great possibility to get those people to connect. So I'm very curious about the growth possibility. So maybe you can tell us something about it.
Yeah, thank you for the compliment. We all know that dementia and intellectual disability is a global phenomenon. And so I think that is our playground, and the way that we created everything online right now also makes it for us a little bit easier to access new markets. So we recently launched in the States and in Canada, which would not have been possible a year ago before the pandemic, and what sort of brought it up onto us. So I think it's good, and I think we can really sort of spread
and one more question. Why do you
meaningful moments around the world?
Hester, one question I was thinking about. You call it tovertafel. Why don't you call it the magic table? Is there a reason?
Very short answer, I should add.
Because we're
One
so
sentence.
proud of our region.
That's good to hear.
One of my 6 first, and one of our players actually came up with the name. So that was one of our first 6 players of the tovertafel. He told me it was a tovertafel, and that was it ever since.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much, Hester, and enjoy your CES.
Thank you. Good luck.
Nog 3 tellen, 4, gaan we zitten. Oh, 5, 4.
Our next entrepreneur is working on an entirely different kind of tech innovation, something only a lucky few of us are able to fully understand, as Mona said a little earlier, quantum technology. I'd like to welcome Niels Bultink. Hello, you are the co-founder and CEO of Qblocks. Now, before we get into what Qblocks does, what is quantum tech?
Thank you for your introduction. I'm happy to be here. So, quantum technology is very different from most other technology in the world. And that is because it's using fundamentally different laws of physics than most technology. Namely, the laws of quantum mechanics, the rules that govern nature at its smallest scales, at the atomic level. And what we do in quantum technology is we use quantum phenomena like superposition, for instance, the ability of being here and in Las Vegas at the same time, for actual applications. So, with Qblocks, we develop part of quantum computers, which is a new type of computer that works following these rules. And we focus on a specific detail of quantum computing where we make technology to control quantum bits.
All right.
Those are the transistors of the quantum computer.
Okay. So now I can finally say that I know someone who knows what quantum tech is.
Definitely, yes.
Yes. So what can you tell us about Qblocks?
Yes, we're here at CES partly to launch this device here called the cluster. And this is a device that's much smaller than any other solution for this quantum control system. And what we are doing is quantum technology is moving from its proof of principle stage towards actual applications. And this technology helps in getting this to actual applications where quantum computers are able to work at problems like the energy problem, but also inventing new medicines in health. We're not there yet with quantum computing, but this brings it one step towards this great endeavor.
Yes, brilliant. And Mona, I believe there's a good reason to congratulate Niels today. Niels, you are the CES 2021 Innovation Award honoree, along with another company, I believe.
Then Smart Homes, that's another champion on innovation. Last year, I just said Hyperloop, but it's Hydra Loop. That's one who won the award. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You're one of the most esteemed innovational entrepreneurs. So that's a very good thing. Well, we talk about co-create to innovate, and those are co-creation and innovation. Those are words where people always tend to look at the sky and think, my goodness, what are they talking about? But maybe you can tell us how you came up with this Qblocks together with probably other entrepreneurs, researchers, or professors.
Yeah, thank you. So the theme co-creation for innovation is very well matches quantum technology, because it's I guess one of the hardest technologies that humankind has ever worked on. So the idea that one entity alone, a university or even a big IT firm like Microsoft or Intel can do this alone is rather ridiculous. We have to work together to make quantum technology a reality. So we as Qblocks from the start have been working with both academia but also big IT firms to build on quantum technology. So co-creation is deeply in our DNA, I would say.
Well, one of the examples what it is, co-creation,
For
to
sure.
innovate. Yeah.
For sure. And I believe our ministry as well has committed, was it 20 million euros last December for
Yes.
the coming 5 years?
Yeah, well, and 20 million is to get started, I should say. Tomorrow, our Senate is discussing the growth, the National Growth Fund. And I can't say too much about it, but of course, for me, State Secretary responsible for innovation, is quantum computing is of course important. Artificial intelligence, hydrogen, those are the subjects where the innovation will come from the upcoming years. So I hope the 20 million you just talked about is what gets us started.
Yes, I can imagine so. And I believe this is a great moment for us to introduce our next guest to tell us a little more about all that. I'd like to welcome Charles Marcus. Charlie, I hope you can hear us. You are both a Willem Kaan Rasmussen professor, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, at the Niels Bohr Institute at the University of Copenhagen, and the scientific director of the Copenhagen Microsoft Quantum Lab, a title even longer than that of our prince. That's very impressive. Hi, Charlie.
Hi, nice to see you.
Hi, hello. Charlie, what can you tell us about the potential of quantum tech and the role of the Netherlands in quantum tech?
Sure. Well, you know, the difficulty of quantum technology came up 2 times in this conversation. Mona mentioned that she has trouble with it, and everybody has trouble with it, and anybody who pretends like they don't have trouble with it is probably lying. And Niels then later mentioned that it was something where it's one of the hardest technologies to build. And I think I want to make one important point, which is that the hardness that Mona was talking about is not the same hardness that Niels was talking about. In that we do have a very good theory and a complete understanding of quantum mechanics. And it's a 100-year-old idea. In fact, I'm the founding father of the field, also named Niels. I'm sitting right upstairs from his office right now. And this is really a century-old topic. The difficulty is that we're in the middle of a transition from observing quantum physics in nature, and as this Niels from Qblocks mentioned, at its smallest scales, meaning below the scale of a nanometer, to being able to control it. And that's the hard part. The hard part is that we need to be able to put our hands around this quantum mechanical system and have it do what we want, like compute, instead of just observing it. And that's really what this Qblocks business is all about. What the Netherlands has done that I think is very special in the world of quantum is that as a country, it's organized itself around a number of important themes within quantum technologies. And rather than the kind of, let's say, free-for-all spirit that governs American culture and American business and American academia, the Netherlands has organized both the relationship between businesses and education, and also around the country, large businesses, small businesses, all feed into each other and are part of an ecosystem that is really impressive.
Great. And I believe you have a question for Niels as well.
Yeah, so Niels, this is a great little invention that you've made. And what I want to know is, how are you going to help me make a quantum computer in my lab?
Thanks, Charlie, for that question. I'm happy to have a small sales conversation here in the studio right now. It's a good moment. No, well, what we do is we help big IT firms like Microsoft to focus on part of the technology. So instead of every lab having to invent the control system themselves or programming and making the software, we take part of your distraction away, so you can focus on your actual research. We provide the full solution to your control needs. That's what we do. That's what we're here for.
Great. And now, very short, my final questions to you. Niels, what about the future? What is your vision for Q-Blocks?
Yes, so the future. So as I mentioned, quantum technology is moving from its proof of principle stage towards actual application. And what I mean with that is that quantum computers so far have just done some benchmarking calculations that show that they work, but they haven't actually solved real impactful problems yet. And our technology will help quantum computer developers to do that. So in the coming 3-4 years, our customers will be doing the first actual computations with quantum computers that help in themes like energy, health, and those type of fields.
Great, brilliant. And what about you, Charlie? What is your vision for the future of quantum tech?
I guess I'd say two things. The first is that it feels to me that there's no choice. That is, unless our idea for the future of computation and the future of processing is that we're done. We've lived through the glory years and they're over now.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Charlie. If you have one more sentence to tell us, and then we really have to go on with our show.
Yeah. Very good. Yes, and I think the answer is we have simply no choice.
That was a bit of an abrupt interruption, excuse us. But I do want to still thank Niels and Charlie for joining us, our show. And Niels, enjoy your CES 2021. Speaking of global co-creation, both Mona and Prince Constantijn work globally to enhance the Dutch innovation. Welcome back, Prince Constantijn. You do a lot of work internationally. And Mona, I believe you have a new initiative to help entrepreneurs explore new markets.
Yes, we do. The Netherlands CES Innovation Roadshow. In 17 places in the world, there are innovation attachés, tech diplomats, you could say, and they are ready to, well, you can see now where they are. There they are. Good to see you. Good to see you all. Those are colleagues of mine at the Ministry of Economic Affairs, and they are in all kinds of places in the world. You saw it, San Francisco, Tel Aviv, Berlin, Paris, in Brazil. They are ready and willing to help entrepreneurs to use the networks that they built there, to find colleagues, to find investors, to find contacts in university, to make sure that those Dutch solutions for global challenges can be put to work.
And what do they focus on?
Well, they focus on the key technologies, which are also part of our top sector in innovation policies in the Netherlands. Co-creation in itself, of course, quantum we talked about, AI, nano, photonics. So those technical, life science and health, I should say. So we came up with a vaccine because of bright minds in all kinds of laboratories. So that's where they help entrepreneurs all over the world.
Okay, brilliant. What can we expect from the Roadshow?
Well, Dirk Jansen will be with us shortly to tell about the first step, and we'll go on to Boston and New York with entrepreneurs to introduce them to their networks over there, to make sure that those companies scale so they can be important for Dutch economy. Yeah. And for the challenges we all face all over the world, because it's everywhere the same.
Yeah, for sure. Will you be joining the Roadshow stops?
Whenever I can. I love talking to entrepreneurs. They are so inspiring. They always see solutions. So that's great. Yeah,
great.
I'm very proud of them.
Yes, and I believe our first stop is even today, which brings us to our next guest, our Consul General in San Francisco, Dirk Jansen, who would have been our host in Las Vegas today. Hello, Dirk. I believe you can hear us.
I can hear you. Good morning from San Francisco.
Hi, good
afternoon
morning.
to you. Hi.
What can you tell us about what you will be presenting today?
Well, first of all, congratulations on the opening of the virtual Dutch Pavilion. Of course, yeah, we would have loved, as you said, to welcome you all in Vegas today. It wasn't meant to be, hopefully next year. But there's definitely no need to be sad about it, because right after this opening, we have quite an exciting program for you, the Holland in the Valley Investors Roundtable. Because as you know, one of the biggest challenges for Dutch startups is that Dutch startups that want to conquer the world with their product is obtaining capital to be able to grow. And with this roundtable, we aim to help you in that search for capital. We will introduce you to some key players in the Silicon Valley venture capital ecosystem. First, we will hear from the experts of Silicon Valley Bank. And in the second part, we will connect the group of tech pioneers among you to several of our Holland in the Valley mentors to see how they can help you on your way to success in the US. So all this will start right after the official opening, so please stay tuned.
Great, thank you so much, Dirk. I can't wait to see what you have for us in just a couple of minutes. And this brings us to my final questions. Constantijn, what is your vision for the future of Dutch tech startups?
Well, my vision is that in every sector there will be a startup challenger. So the car industry, it's Tesla and NIO in China, but even nobody would thought that space would have been conquered by a startup, and it's actually now the dominating force. So we should be aware that the startup way of starting a business, of financing it, and of growing it fast is actually the new way of building businesses, and it's really so it's no longer the niche it used to be, but it's actually become really the mainstream way of building businesses. And I think we'll see many startups in domains that we hadn't thought that there were going to be startups being the dominant forces in the future.
Brilliant. And what about you, Mona? In one sentence, very short, do you have any advice for tech startups?
Well, think big. When you try to find investors, add a zero to the amount of money you're looking for, or to the goals you're aiming for. Think global, think cooperation, because that's what makes us strong, we Dutchies.
Yes.
We know how to cooperate with each other. We've got great ideas, brilliant minds, good, strong hands to build the new techniques. So keep on doing what you're doing times 10.
Great, thank you very much. One very long sentence, but thank you. I want to thank you
that's
both.
for a politician, a very short one.
That's correct. That is definitely true. Thank you, Mona. Thank you, Constantijn. Thank you very much to all our participating Dutch tech startups. Have a great CES. Make the most of it and enjoy. I'd also like to thank all of our guests, both live and online, from all over the world. And of course, I want to thank our viewers from all over the world as well, wherever you may be. And let's stay tuned for the follow-up program starting in just 2 minutes. Enjoy.